Do you know who suffers the most in silence? It's not the weakest person in the room. It's the one everyone calls strong. The one people go to when they're breaking. The one who fixes everyone else, but has no one to fix them. And here's the uncomfortable psychological truth. The person who looks the most emotionally stable is often the most emotionally abandoned. Think about your life for a second. Every family has one. Every friend group has one. Every workplace has one. That one person who never panics, never collapses, never says, "I can't handle this." They stay calm when things fall apart. They give advice like they have life figured out. They listen more than they talk, and everyone says the same line about them. They're strong. They'll be fine. But what if that sentence is exactly what's hurting them? Because being the strong one is rarely a personality. It's usually a survival adaptation. Most strong people didn't choose strength. They were forced into it. They were the child who couldn't cry because their parents were already overwhelmed, the teenager who had to mature too fast because chaos lived at home, the sibling who protected everyone else emotionally, the friend who became the group therapist. They learned early that falling apart was a luxury they couldn't afford. So they built emotional discipline. They trained themselves to stay composed, to solve instead of collapse, to hold instead of being held. And slowly, strength stopped being something they did. It became who they were. Here's where the psychology gets heavy. When you're always the strong one, you realize very quickly that your pain makes people uncomfortable, so you hide it, not because you're fake, but because you don't want to become another problem in someone's life. You become the person who says, "I'm fine," on autopilot, even when you're mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, running on empty. You give advice you secretly wish someone would give you. You show up for everyone, but rarely feel like anyone truly shows up for you. People admire strong individuals, but they also depend on them. And dependence creates isolation, because when everyone assumes you're okay, no one checks if you are. That's the invisible weight strong people carry, emotional self-sufficiency, not by choice, but by conditioning. You stop expecting comfort. You stop expecting rescue. You become your own support system. And while that sounds powerful, it feels incredibly lonely. There's a silent burnout that comes from always being emotionally available. You absorb people's heartbreaks, their anxieties, their trauma. You take late-night calls. You hold space for breakdowns. You stabilize emotional storms. But when it's your turn, you freeze because vulnerability feels foreign, even dangerous. Strong people don't lack emotions. They lack safe spaces to express them, so they suppress. They minimize. They delay their own pain, telling themselves, "Others have it worse. I'll deal with it later." It's not that serious, but psychology teaches us something critical. Suppressed emotions don't disappear. They accumulate quietly, like pressure behind concrete. And eventually, even concrete cracks. Another psychological trait of the strong one. Hyper-awareness. They can read energy instantly, detect tension in seconds, notice forced smiles, tone shifts, emotional undercurrents, because they've spent years managing emotional environments, keeping peace, avoiding conflict, protecting stability. Strength becomes tied to emotional intelligence, but there's a cost. They prioritize everyone else's feelings over their own. They become fixers, caretakers, stabilizers, and the danger of always being the fixer is never being fixed. You become everyone's emergency contact, with no one on speed dial for you. There's also a huge misconception. People think strong individuals are fearless, unaffected, unbreakable. But the reality, they feel everything, just privately. They cry where no one hears them. They break down at night, then wake up composed. They rehearse strength before facing the world. It's not the absence of pain. It's mastery of concealment. Many operate from one deep psychological belief. If I fall apart, everything else will too. So they don't collapse, even when they need to. This creates chronic internal tension because humans aren't designed to be pillars 24/7. Even pillars need support beams, but strong people rarely build them. Independence becomes armor, self-reliance becomes identity, and asking for help feels like weakness, even when it's not. Over time, something else grows quietly, resentment toward the role, not toward people but toward the expectation, the constant responsibility. They wonder silently, what would it feel like if someone held me the way I hold everyone else? But they never say it out loud, because strength becomes performative. You feel obligated to maintain it. And here's the paradox. The stronger you look, the less support you receive. Because people think you don't need. Indeed, resilience gets mistaken for invulnerability, but resilience is built through repeated hardship. Not comfort, and hardship leaves scars. One complex psychological pattern here is emotional containment. Strong people can sit with intense feelings without reacting. They absorb shock calmly, function in crisis, which makes them dependable, but emotionally vulnerable in silence, because containment without release leads to numbness, detachment, disconnection. You start functioning without feeling, smiling without energy, helping without presence, existing, but not fully living. Trust issues also develop, not distrust of people, but distrust of dependence. They fear relying on someone who might leave, so they minimize needs, lower expectations, convince themselves they don't require much. It's a defense mechanism against disappointment. Most strong people have a history of being let down when they needed support most, so they adapted. They stopped expecting rescue and became their own. Receiving care becomes uncomfortable when someone tries to help. They deflect, joke, change the subject, because being cared for feels unfamiliar, even undeserved. They're used to giving, not receiving. Control becomes their safety mechanism. If they stay composed, everything stays stable. So they hold themselves together, even when internally they're collapsing. But eventually, every strong person confronts one truth. Strength without softness becomes rigidity. Strength without support becomes isolation. Strength without vulnerability becomes performance. And performance is exhausting. Healthy strength includes flexibility. Theta says, "I'm tired, I need help, I can't carry this alone." That's not weakness. That's psychological maturity. Real strength bends, rests, receives. There's healing when strong people allow others to be strong for them, when they let someone else hold the weight, when they experience support instead of providing it. Many fear losing identity if they stop being strong, but what actually happens is deeper connection, because vulnerability creates intimacy. It allows people to understand you, not just rely on you, and understanding is far more nourishing than admiration. So here's a quiet question. If you're always the strong one, when was the last time someone asked if you were okay and you answered honestly, not "I'm fine," not "just tired," but truthfully? Because strength should never require emotional silence. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed, allowed to need reassurance, allowed to be supported. Showing emotion doesn't erase strength. It completes it. The world may always see you as strong. People will still come to you, still trust you, still lean on you, and that's a testament to your resilience. But you deserve spaces where you're not the pillar, where you don't have to hold everything up. Spaces where you can finally exhale, because even the strongest people need somewhere safe to fall. And the most powerful shift you'll ever make is realizing you don't have to prove strength every day. You're allowed to be both, strong and struggling, resilient and tired, stable and sensitive, because real strength isn't never breaking. It's allowing yourself to be human and still rising. This time, not alone, but supported, seen, understood, and finally, strong enough to be gentle with yourself too.